録よろしくお願いします。
There are stories that stir the heart, and then there are those that shake the very soul. Today I bring you one of such stories, the story of a man who wore a crown, not of gold or silver, but one forged in silence, pain, dignity, and an unyielding purpose. His name, Chadwick Aaron Boseman, the man who became a king, not just in a movie, but in millions of hearts around the world. He was born in Anderson, South Carolina, on November 29, 1976. His mother, Carolyn, was a nurse. His father, Leroy, worked in a textile factory and managed an upholstery business. No red carpets, no flashing cameras, just a boy with big eyes and a deeper soul. Chadwick grew up in a family that believed in discipline and faith. He was a quiet observer, but never one to ignore injustice. When a friend was killed in high school, Chadwick didn't run from the pain. He turned it into purpose, writing his very first play as a way to process grief and spark healing. It was called Crossroads. At just 15, Chadwick wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing truth. The drive took him to Howard University, one of the greatest historically black colleges in the United States. There, he studied under the legendary Felicia Rashad, who saw something in him that even he couldn't yet see. When Chadwick was accepted into a prestigious summer acting program at Oxford, but couldn't afford it, she called a friend. That friend was Denzel Washington, and Denzel paid Chadwick's way. No press, no glory, just one king investing in another. That single act would ripple into history. Now imagine this. You've graduated from one of the best schools, you've studied at Oxford, and you're ready to light up the world. But Hollywood has a different plan. Early in his career, Chadwick was cast in a TV role. But the script reinforced harmful stereotypes about young black men. Chadwick spoke up, questioned the character, and asked for changes. They fired him, and that moment right there, most would have folded. But Chadwick refused to compromise his values. That wasn't arrogance, that was integrity. It took years, rejections, small parts, and long waits. But his moment finally came. In 2013, he starred as Jackie Robinson in 42, the story of the first black man to play Major League Baseball in a segregated America. Jackie had courage. Chadwick had respect. He didn't play Jackie, he became Jackie. 2 years later, he transformed again, this time into James Brown in Get On Up. Dancing, shouting, collapsing, rising, he embodied every inch of the godfather of soul. Then came Thurgood Marshall, the first black Supreme Court justice. 3 giants of history, and one man carried them all. But still, the world had only seen a glimpse of the king he was destined to be. And then the storm hit. In 2018, the world was reintroduced to Africa through the mythical land of Wakanda. Black Panther exploded onto screens, and there he stood, in all his glory, King T'Challa. For the first time, black children across the globe looked up and saw themselves as kings, warriors, royalty. For the first time, a billion-dollar superhero franchise centered on African power, beauty, and heritage. But what they didn't know, what none of us knew, was that the man behind the mask was dying. You see, Chadwick had been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016, and while he filmed Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Dar 5 Bloods, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, he was undergoing surgeries, chemotherapy, and unimaginable pain. He never told the world. He kept smiling, kept visiting children with cancer while carrying his own diagnosis. He kept delivering performances that would become immortal. That is not just professionalism, that is not just talent, that is warrior spirit. Chadwick didn't want your pity, he wanted your power. He wanted you to believe in yourself, even when everything hurts. On August 28, 2020, the world woke up to silence. Chadwick was gone, only 43. He died at home, surrounded by his family and wife, in the same quiet strength he had always carried. But oh, did he live? He lived boldly, He lived with purpose, and most of all, he lived for others. He once said, "When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it." He believed that, and his life was proof. He didn't just entertain us, he empowered us. He showed us that even when you're hurting, even when you're doubted, even when you're tired and broken, you can still wear your crown, you can still rise. And now, long after the curtain has closed, his voice still echoes, not just through film, but through every young boy who stands taller after watching Black Panther, through every actor of color who dares to demand respect, through every person fighting a battle that no one sees and still keeps going. So I ask you, dear listener, what's your excuse? What are you waiting for? Chadwick gave us his best. While enduring his worst, he turned silence into strength. He turned pain into power. And he showed us that greatness doesn't need to be loud. May we never forget. The king didn't just live in Wakanda. He walked among us, and he still lives in the fire he lit in our hearts. Wakanda forever. Purpose forever.
チャンネル登録よろしくお願いします。